So yeah, how old are you? How old would you be if nobody told you how old you are? I think it's actually a relevant question. It's kind of funny. I was waiting around in a restaurant and I'm talking to some folks, and this one lady was talking about her ex-husband played, some similar sports in the same area that I did, and she said, "Well, yeah, but you're way too young to have played ball with him." I'm like, "No, I doubt that's the truth." She goes, "Well, I'm turning 50 today." I go, "Wow, I'm 61. I'm turning 62 in a couple months here." And she goes, "Wow, there's no way that you're older than me." But not saying that to, say that I'm, so super fantastic, but it's more along the lines of how old, what are your expectations of what a certain age range is supposed to look like, and where's that coming from? And what kind of nonsensical influences are you allowing to color your perception of it? Because if there's an old saying, the man who thinks he can and the man who thinks he can't are both going to get that exact result, right? So if you're going in thinking that when I'm 50, 60, 70, 80 years old, I'm going to be all done, I'm going to be all decrepit, I can't move, I can't do anything, then I guarantee that's the results you're going to get. But if you're going into your 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, training like a maniac, thinking, hey, shit, I'm getting into the most difficult years of my life and I'm going to kick those years' ass, they're not going to kick mine, then your efforts are going to reflect that as well. So, I think a lot of times we have these ridiculous expectations based on, movies, based on cartoons, comedians, or what have you, but people take that and they take that real and they internalize it, right? So, I mean, what the fuck is a 60-year-old supposed to be doing? I'm deadlifting, I'm squatting, I'm bench pressing, I'm overhead pressing, I'm doing, yoga, I'm doing martial arts stuff, I'm doing all kinds of stuff to keep my body moving, right? And then I read stories about this. There's a guy who started lifting in his 70s, and in his 90s now, and he's deadlifting 400 or 500 pounds in his 90s. And he's built that kind of strength from 70 to 90. So what expectations are you setting? What do you expect? And are the expectations that you're setting going to be self-fulfilling prophecies, or are you going to learn something, you're going to change those and make those into something where you're aiming higher and you're going to be doing something positive for yourself? Those of us with families, we have another thing that's very vital with that too, right? Because we have our kids. We have our kids that we have to set an example for. And I read this, and this was kind of startling too. They asked the child predator the number one thing that he looked at in order to pick a victim, and it wasn't anything specific with the exact victim. He said, I look at the father, and if the father looks like he's not a threat, then that child's a victim. If the father looks like he is a threat, I steer clear. So do you look like a threat? Do you still look dangerous? Whatever fucking age you are. The body positivity movement has fucked that up too for a lot of people. And I agree with it in part because I really don't think completely shitting on somebody or completely demoralizing somebody or completely humiliating somebody really does anything to inspire them to get in shape. But by the same token, if you have these pseudo medical professionals who are going around lying and telling these people that being 80, 90, 100 pounds overweight has no bearing on their physical health, that's criminal. That's absolutely fucking criminal. My daughter and I were on the coast. She was doing a PIO project, and I saw these girls walking the same trail path that we were on. They were in their 20s, probably about the same age as my daughter, both of them over 250 pounds. And, they'd walk a few steps and they'd have to stop because they were all out of breath, walk a few steps. It's like, I mean, you're in the fucking prime of your life and you can't move because you listen to this bullshit. It's fucked up. So we have to make sure that we're doing what we can to set that example, right? We have to make sure that we're doing what we can to set the example for our kids and anybody else who's looking too. My son, he's in his early 20s. He plays on a rugby team. Those guys see me training. I mean, every single one of them is like an athlete, a better athlete than I am or probably ever was, but they still see me bust and hump at 60. That's planting a seed in the back of their minds so that they're not thinking when they're 20 and 30 and they have to be all done. They're thinking, okay, well, I can still do things when I'm a little bit older because, hey, that guy set the example, right? So it really comes down to that. It really comes down to what is in your head. What is your expectation for yourself? What are your demands for yourself? And my buddy Chris Smith, he said this today. I just heard him say it on on his vlog, and it struck me, is why are you willing to dim your brightness to be accepted by the blind? So like that woman, she's like, well, you know, I'm 50 and I'm really old, and you must be younger than me because you don't carry yourself, you don't look old. Why are you doing that to yourself? You're setting yourself up to be this crippled, old, frail woman. Why aren't you setting yourself up to say, hey, I'm still young, I'm just hitting 50, I'm hitting my stride, I'm getting moving, I'm going. Why are you sitting there saying that, okay, all these people say that I'm 50, I gotta slow down, I'm 60, I gotta slow down, I'm 70, I gotta slow down. Fuck that shit, right? It's one of my favorite poems, right? Rage against the dying of the light. Rage against that dying. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna keep on raging. I hope you do too, man. Hey, stay steady, stay strong.